Hey, what's good, everybody? Good morning. I'm gonna do my little coffee and a card reading right for this week of October 27th. Just seeing what energies are out there right now, right? Um, so let's just see what comes out, and yeah, we'll take it from there. Let me see. Give me 1 second here. So hopefully you're all doing well. Hopefully you had a great weekend. It was yeah, a very you know, really spiritually infused weekend, right? There's a lot of things going on, but I like that I was around a lot of things, right? I taught a yoga class, went to a psychic fair, all these things. So yeah, it was just a really great weekend. A lot of information flowing. I had this amazing, I guess, had it already happened or when I did the last reading? I think it had, right? But it was I don't know, I had this crazy download that it looked like when life started like kind of on this earth or all that stuff, and it was just really I don't know. It's still kind of with me. It's in my head, right? But let me see, what can I start with? All right, let's see the current energy. Oh yeah, and if anyone wants me to pull a card for them, obviously just hop in the chat and you know, let me know. And I'll pull a card for you after I get a few cards just for the collective energy, right? I'm still a little half asleep, which is good always for tapping into energies, right? But so that's why I guess, a little slow to start this morning, but it is kind of late already, actually. I know the other one I had done the reading a little later. So let me know, yeah, if anyone else had an interesting weekend, let me know. Okay, I think let's go. All right. So I'll start off with this luminous deck. Let's see what the astrology says, right? Let's see what the astrology says. What is the overall message for the collective this week of October 27th? What message do you want the collective to know? Halloween's approaching. Let me know if anyone has any special thing that they're doing. Okay, that card just slipped on out. Mars action. Wow. So I guess look at that. The box is someone in a fighting mood this week or a little smashed up nail. Desire impulses courage. Force, heat, strength, competition, workouts, excitement, thirst, impatience, anger, leadership, engine potency, willpower, motor, sex drive. That came up a lot, even during the yoga class I taught. We were talking about the sacral chakra and all that stuff. So look at that. And there's the orange, right? I don't know if it's, well, there's red and orange. So regardless, right? Fire, the boxing gloves, ready to be in that competitive energy. And I don't know what that lipstick kind of suggests. Maybe like, hey, maybe you'll feel good or, you know, you'll feel like dressing up while you do it, right? Like you'll be feeling yourself, right? Like I think that's the best way of putting it, right? Or maybe that energy that working out will put you, release some of that dopamine or endorphins that get you in that mood, right? So I like that, right? So I guess for this week, that's what it is. If you feel that energy, tap into it. Don't shy away from feeling energetic. Don't shy away from feeling like you want to go conquer the world. Like if that's what you're feeling, then use it in that positive way, right? Instead of like maybe being in a fighting mood, it's okay, I guess, to be competitive if it helps you, you know, get something done. There's really nothing wrong with that, right? Obviously, as it's as old as whatever, right? Like sports, the Olympics, competition, right? It's always been there in that way that it helps us kind of reach for more in a way, right? Or push ourselves. So, okay, what else does the collective? Oof. All right. Wow. Well, I don't know what this is about. Hmm. Maybe in the past you've been feeling like this, right? You had been feeling like over too many burdens, carrying too much, right? But you see, like, look at even that person's bicep is like huge, right? Like maybe all that stuff you've had to carry has made you stronger than you realize. Maybe you're gonna get a second win this this week, you know? But if you do need a rest, take it how it resonates, right? Maybe it's just hey, you've been already in that energy and it's time to take a little rest. So it's okay, right? That's funny. Yeah, so yeah, if it's a time to rest, it could be a time to rest, right? Maybe that's just saying that you've already been in that energy and but clearly it's made you strong, right? That's kind of what I'm getting. Like, let me see what else. Unless you wanna, let's see if we could clarify that 10 of Wands. Well, the 10 is completion, right? So the 10 is completion. Temperance again, temperance. More Sagittarius energy. But who knows? Maybe it's about, hey, keep pushing, and maybe by Sagittarius energy, you could have that break, or maybe what you're working on is right around the corner, right? Hmm, interesting. The world. Let me knock it. The world. Now. Interesting. I think the world came out last week too, so something's definitely completing. There's something that has finished, right? So maybe even this week it'll be more clear that something has ran its course. And it's funny because I think last year around Sagittarius season, I like the world literally appeared to me in a dream. Yeah, look at there it is. Damn, wow, so much Sagittarius. So something's definitely happening in Sagittarius season, right? Another Sagittarius card. That's, the 10, the temperance, and their optimism, right? Wow. So maybe that's the whole thing with the Scorpio season. Something's really coming to the end, to an end. Obviously, the death card is Scorpio, the number 13, which is the transformation, right? So I think something's definitely maybe that's the theme this week, right? Really beginning to end things or letting things come to an end naturally, right? Just letting the world. I mean, I don't think, when the world comes out, I don't think there's anything you could do about it. It's already like I don't know if I shared it. I mean, I know I shared it, right? But if anyone has seen that, when I said the world appeared to me, it was like all these beasts or beings or they were all they looked like a griffin, right? It was like for those of you that know what a griffin is, if not you could look it up. But I was fighting it and I had two things in my hands, like just you know, like they have two things in their hands, and I was trying to fight the griffin. And finally, when I just surrendered, and it kind of yeah, and I don't know, everything went black, and I don't know if I woke up or what. I forgot. I gotta even watch what I had said, but it was like when I finally surrendered, like Cause yeah, there was I was just gonna fight the griffin forever until I just surrendered to it, right? So that's the world. You really at the end of the day, it's just about it's gonna it's gonna complete no matter what. Yeah. So something new, right? So maybe you're starting something right after. That's pretty interesting, right? That after the 10, carrying all those burdens, something new starts. So definitely, it all makes sense to me. Absolutely. So hopefully it resonates with whoever's watching this. Let me see what other message could I bring out? Well, I already picked up this deck, so let's see. The Dark Goddess was my go-to for a while. So I guess well this is good for Scorpio season too, right? Good morning, Lena. Thank you for watching. Let me know if you want me to pull you a card. Okay, so um let me see from the Dark Goddess any message. I almost yawned, so maybe some of you are sleepy like me right now. Ah, sanctuary. See, so maybe there is something to do with that. Like the carrying all those like the 10 of Wands, right? Maybe there is a okay then. I'll pull a card right now for you. So Bastet Sanctuary, right? I believe it's funny. Look, I never noticed that her ears kind of look like a butterfly's ears too, or a bat, is it? I don't know. Regardless, right? It's one of our little winged relatives, so that's pretty interesting. I don't know what both of those symbols mean actually, but Bastet Sanctuary. Hmm. Oh, interesting. It even looks to me like her neck piece is telling a story, which is interesting. I don't know why I'm getting that. Like, there's a whole story. Ah, maybe it's about using your voice, right, to speak up and tell those stories. It looks like there's this ancestral wisdom, almost like hieroglyphics, right? Like her whole neck piece is telling a whole story of, like, even how like with native, when they always show how the old like native elders would, I even have a medicine staff that has all these beads that I know are telling a whole story. Um, so it's kind of like that, right? Like her neck reminds me of that. I wish I could pull it down, but yeah, it's like all the story, right? That's being told through her neck piece. So let me see. Let me see. Let me read this and then I'll pull a card for Lena. Let me see. For this week. So all this is, I'm tapping into what's coming up this week. So Bastet Sanctuary. Bastet is the Egyptian goddess of home, pleasure, protection, and cats, right? So pleasure came up a lot too, right? Because of Scorpio season. In ancient Egypt, cats were highly revered as they kept down the rodent populations and protected food supplies. Cats were cherished and dressed in gold jewelry. Wow, I didn't know cats were. That's crazy. And when they died, they would be mummified and buried in temples of Bastet. She is known as a protector of pregnant women and a matron of healers and magicians. She is usually depicted as a cat or a cat-headed woman holding an ankh. So that's the ankh, and then the other and sistrum. So that's what the other one is, sistrum, and wearing a blue or green dress, meaning now is the time to retreat to your sanctuary for a period of rest and renewal. Bastet encourages you to arrange time for stillness and self care. It's important to break away from the anxieties and pressures of this hectic world on occasion. Enjoy this moment and do something that brings you pleasure. It's vital to find time to relax, dream, and reconnect with yourself. Hmm. And it's interesting because yesterday, yeah, cats are beautiful. I love them. And cats have been around. Where did I go? I went somewhere and a black cat came by my foot, by my leg. Can't remember where I was. Uh, okay, so yeah, but I know cats have been around, and it was funny because when it says about taking a break from the hectic world, when we were doing the yoga class yesterday, there was literally all this stuff happening outside of the class, right? You could hear the police or ambulance or all this stuff, right? But yet all of us in the class were in our own little bubble, right? And all that. So during that time, it was like that. Like we were in a little sanctuary with all the chaos going on, which obviously later, right, we have to go rejoin that. But at that time, it felt very, very peaceful, right, to be in that space. So it was beautiful. And that's kind of like a similar message. And really, that was the beginning of the week yesterday, right? Sunday. So I think that shows it's kind of similar to what's coming out in this reading about taking that time. So I don't know. It's funny that the first card was about action. Hmm. Who knows? Maybe that's coming. Maybe that's something for, next weekend. I mean, this weekend coming up, right? So just take it how it resonates. Either something's, yeah. So if you're feeling more inclined to take a break, then take a break. And if you're feeling in this Mars action, well, hey, you know, don't you don't have to take everything word for word, right? Obviously, right? But yeah, that's interesting that Mars came out action. Well, let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna pull a card for Lena. Let's see what comes out. I guess I'll throw these cards back in just so we make sure you get whatever message you need to get. Okay. Hmm. Okay, so this is for Lena, right? What message do you have for this week? What's the overall? Oof. Why does this card has came out so much in the past, but what is it about this? Look at that good old Seven of Swords, frenemies, hmm, frenemies, hidden things, Aquarius energy. What is it? I mean, and always take it how it resonates. It could be you're dealing with a frenemy or you're lying to yourself, right? This is very big because, like, the smoke and mirrors came out too, right? So, like, in the last readings I did, that was a theme of there being the mirror with the smoke, right? And we don't see things clearly sometimes, right? So, all right, let's clarify that one. That's interesting. That good old Seven of Swords. I don't like that card because I don't know, just one of those cards. Not to but let's see. Clarify Seven of Swords. Various energies. Oh, Pisces. Pisces. I don't know. Intuition. I don't know. So you know that better. I don't know if you know any Pisces or it's my throat's my throat's kind of I'm feeling something in my throat, right? So I don't know. How's your into? I don't know, cause it's like I guess I should just say what I'm feeling is that sometimes your intuition can be off, right? We can be off. We can have off times, off days. So I don't know if there's something about your intuition that could be off right now, maybe, right? And I said pull one card, but now I'm kind of curious with this. I'll pull one more and that's it. Let me see. Ah, of course. The moon, right? So the moon, and that's 100% what I just said, right? Sometimes, like the moon is, it can be confusing, right? And that's literally what it talks about: confusion, hidden things, right? So that goes th- with the first card, right? Hidden things, the moon. Yeah. It says error de concepto, which means like perceiving things wrong, right? Things like that. So illusion. But it even talks about work wise, work. Huh. What is it then about? So you take it how it resonates, right? What is it? What is it? How interesting. Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't want to turn this into a whole reading, but yeah, so that's kind of, maybe you know better what that means, right? So, okay. Well, on that note, the second card was a page of cups. Yeah, I didn't say it. The page of cups, right? But it talks about intuition, right? And it's a Pisces. It's a Pisces card, right? Pisces. But take it. I mean, it doesn't have to be Pisces, but it talks about like dreams again. So I don't know. There's an idea, maybe. An idea. I mean, look at like this, for example, right? Like the Seven of Swords is obviously frenemies, lies, right? Betrayals, different things, right? Or games, even sometimes, right? Because look at how that person's taking all that stuff, but they're still looking back, right? They're still like, there's something. Either it's almost like someone doing something and then waiting to see, like, or like that's kind of what I got right now. So I'll just say that it's like someone sets a trap for you or causes chaos, and then they just look to see, like, oh, did it work? Did the chaos work? Stuff like that, right? Not to be all like, but since there was a thing about poison, it's almost like if someone leaves you poison and then they just look to see if you ended up drinking the poison from a distance or something, right? I know that's really like, but I know there was a thing yesterday about that, right? And then there was a Shakespeare thing too, which I remember that had to do with that, right? So it's like that, like someone looking back to see if, right, a sneaky person, right? So I don't know what that's about. It says comportamiento peligroso, dangerous, like someone that's acting in a reckless way too, right? So again, it could be yourself, right? It could be yourself. Like always, it's always important to look at ourselves and see if we're because that's kind of what the intuition, right? When I get that, the intuition, it's like, I don't know, you know, just take it however it's something maybe you're not seeing clearly with the moon coming out after, right? The illusions, or not being able to see what someone else is doing, right? Not being able to see clearly past that illusion, right? The frenemy, right? See, it says friends. that make or enemies that make themselves pass like friends, right? So I don't know. I think if there's a card in the whole, in the whole deck that I don't like when it comes up, it's this. I kind of even this one's for me. It bothers me more than the devil card, right? Because to me, the devil, a lot of times it's ourselves that keeps us bound, right? It's really simple, right? The devil card is something where we can always throw the chains off and unbind ourselves, right? That's how I always feel about the devil card. It doesn't really, but this one, it's almost like, with that energy of the sneakiness and this and that is a card that, you know. But look at the solar plexus is connected to this too. That's why it also makes me think of if there's something that yourself you're not being truthful with because the solar plexus is standing in your truth, right? And that's when it's really activated when you stand in your truth. So that's why there's always that energy of is it something you're lying to yourself about, right? So yeah. So on that note, I'll end it there. Thank you to anybody that may have watched. You know what? Let me do another collective. I'll pull one more card for just the collective, because yeah, that was just an overall message, and we'll see what resonates with that. Let me see. Mhm. Planting seeds. Wow, intention. So of course, you're welcome. Planting seeds. Card 34, intentions, right? So maybe it's a good time. Like that kind of goes with the overall message, right, of the week of new beginnings, right? There was a lot of Sagittarius energy, so maybe something starting in Sagittarius season, right? Planting your seeds now so that they grow. Intentions, right? Setting those intentions. Let me see. Planting seeds, intentions. There is a reason and season for all things in life, and there is potential for boundless possibilities if we seize the divine opportunities that we wish to manifest in our lives. Our capacity for self-expression is done so through hard work and dedication and by creating clear intentions for the journey ahead. The intentions we create for ourselves are akin to seedlings, and in the same way, we must nurture our dreams and aspirations. Careful thought is required when putting out intentions for our future selves, and consistent action is needed to accomplish the goals we wish to work towards. We may have imagine imaginings for our future, but intentions had without actively nurturing our dreams will not take root. If you wish to manifest a dream life that will flourish like the mighty oak, understand that growth and advancement is a process. Even though you will not be able to bear witness to each phase of your development, growth still occurs under the surface. We can't control when it rains, but through perseverance, resourcefulness, and by learning to become creators, we can plant seeds out in the world so that the work we invest in our goals allows us to reap a beautiful harvest. If you have drawn the planting seeds card today, pay attention to all the details required so that your intentions can fully flourish. Have a clear vision of your future and trust that you are moving toward your goals. Perhaps you take the plunge and further your education or read a book on a subject that inspires you. Plant your seeds of intentions today and water them daily. Hold highest the vision of your fullest potential for growth and take a small step every day towards your intention. Wow. So maybe that's the theme for this week, right? Take action. So wow, okay. That's so funny. So regardless what it said about resting and everything, see everything became a nice little sandwich, right? The first card was Mars action, And now there it is, planting seeds and, you know, setting those intentions, right? But not just having setting the intention, but actually beginning to take action, right? Planting the seeds. So it's funny that it did end up being a nice little sandwich right there. Yeah, interesting, interesting. So I guess on that note, I'll end it there. Thank you all. Thank you, Lena, for allowing me to pull a card for you, or two or three. And thank you to anybody that watches. And on that note, I'll end it there. And I hope you all have a great week. I should be doing another reading, hopefully. But yeah, just in case, have a great week.